I'm a divorce attorney. My mother-in-law read my confidential case files, then gossiped about them over iced tea like it was her Sunday sermon. I threatened to sue her, called her an imbecile, and put her in an Uber to the airport. I didn't even buy her a return ticket. My husband has no idea she's gone. So my mother-in-law comes from a tiny town down south and she loves to spread rumors like everyone there does. This was never really our problem since we live in big city on the other side of the country from her. Other than her always talking through our whole dinner when she visits to tell us all the crazy gossip about people from her church, we didn't have to put up with this part of her personality much, until today. You see, I am a family law attorney with a boutique firm. My specialty is divorces. Mother-in-law loves that I am a divorce attorney. She is always pumping me for stories from work so that she can gossip with her congregation, and rarely I do throw her a bone. Never with specifics, all within my ethical boundaries. For example, I'll tell her, my client has 5 kids but only wants custody of 3. I don't elaborate and just let her feign absolute shock over someone not loving their children equally. My mother-in-law recently came to town for my husband's birthday, and that's how this whole nightmare started. We flew her in because it was a nice thing to do, and up until today I was fond of her. She's staying with us, and she is always insistent on cleaning my home. She's never snooped before, so it doesn't bother me, but I do very firmly tell her that we have a housekeeper and to just enjoy her vacation. Today I worked from home as I often do when I have no meetings. I was in my home office slaving away on one of my more juicy cases, and I took a break to shower and get ready to take mother-in-law out to lunch. My husband was at work, so it was just us two. I figured we would grab some salads and do some window shopping. What could go wrong? Immediately after the iced teas were served, mother-in-law says, "So whatever happened to Mr. and Mrs. Smith's kids? Did she get custody, or were they destroyed?" She then proceeds to mention odd specifics she could have never known. I literally snorted my tea when she said this. It went everywhere. I looked like the Bellagio fountain. Mother-in-law had the audacity to go through my case files, my confidential case files, and read the facts while I was in the shower. I asked her how she knew so much about the case I was working on, and she said she was cleaning my office while I was getting ready, and that I had just left it out. No I did not. They make you take an entire class in law school about doing things like this. And if pigs flew and I did leave it out, this case is a monster. To garner that much information about the divorce would require her to turn several pages. So me leaving it out is no excuse, as she would have had to sit her dumb butt down and read through it. It's not like all the facts could have fit on one sheet of paper that just so happened to be lying on my desk. She said she needed to be in my office because it was filthy. I opened my wallet, threw some cash onto the table for what we ordered, and told her to get in the car. I cannot even remember the ride home. I was just yelling and lecturing and lecture yelling. This was an incredibly crappy thing for her to do. Working at a boutique firm, my reputation is everything to my career. I cannot have word on the street that I just go around town spilling client secrets at the local watering hole. She can very well ruin my budding career by doing this. I think I threatened to sue her if she blabbed about this case. I definitely threatened to tell her son what an imbecile his mother is. I threatened to never have her in our home again. It doesn't matter because as soon as we got home I told her to pack her things or I'll have her arrested for trespassing, and then I called her an Uber and listed the address on my app as the airport. I didn't even pay for her plane ticket. I don't know what's going to happen actually. I do know that she's at the airport right now because that's where the app dropped her off. My husband won't know about any of this until 5:01 p.m. because he works on a secure job site and there's no phone calls or texting. I have steam coming out of my ears. I do feel guilty because she might be stranded at the airport without my financial help, but what she did was so out of line that I think a few hours of time out would do my pettiness some good before I finally call the American Airlines terminal and get her a one-way ticket back to Gossipville, USA. I sat in my home office, staring at the case files scattered across my desk. The Smith divorce papers seemed to mock me with their disarray. My hands shook as I gathered them up, checking each page to see exactly what Mother had read. The custody evaluation reports, the financial statements showing hidden assets, the private investigator's photos of Mr. Smith with his mistress. She'd seen it all. My phone buzzed. A text from the Uber driver confirming drop-off at Terminal 2. Good. Let her figure out how to get home on her own dime. I paced the length of my office, my heels clicking against the hardwood floor. The framed law degree on my wall caught my eye. 7 years of school, 2 bar exams, countless late nights building my reputation, and Mother could destroy it all with one gossipy phone call to her prayer circle. The doorbell rang. My body tensed. Had she somehow gotten another Uber back here? I stormed to the front door and yanked it open. Package for Rachel Martinez? The delivery driver held out a small box. I signed for it and closed the door, my heart still racing. Every sound made me jump. Every car passing by could be her returning to continue her invasion of my privacy. Back in my office, I locked the Smith files in my filing cabinet and spun the combination lock. Then I grabbed my laptop and started drafting an email to my senior partner. Better to get ahead of this disaster. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. How do you explain that your mother-in-law broke into confidential client files? That she might spread details about our highest profile divorce case across her entire Southern Baptist congregation? I deleted the draft and started over, then deleted that one too. The house felt too quiet. Usually Mother would be chattering away about someone's scandalous pregnancy or failed business venture. Now just the hum of the air conditioner filled the space. I checked my phone, 2:47 p.m. Marcus wouldn't be able to call for another 2 hours. By then, Mother might be halfway back to Georgia, or still sitting in the airport, calling everyone she knew to complain about her horrible daughter-in-law. My laptop dinged with a new email. My stomach dropped when I saw the sender. Diane Smith, the wronged wife in my biggest case. Dear Ms. Martinez, I wanted to touch base about Thursday's mediation session. I exhaled slowly. Just routine correspondence. But it reminded me how much damage Mother could do if she remembered even half of what she'd read. Diane Smith trusted me with her deepest secrets, her fears about losing her children, her husband's affairs, and hidden bank accounts. I walked to the Kit Martinez and poured myself a glass of water, downing it in 3 gulps. The lunch dishes still sat in the sink from this morning. Mother usually insisted on washing them immediately. Cleanliness is next to godliness, she'd chirp while scrubbing away. My phone rang. Unknown number with a local area code. I let it go to voicemail, then played the message. Ms. Martinez, this is security at the airport. We have a passenger here who says she's your mother-in-law and needs needs assistance purchasing a ticket. I deleted the message before it finished. The afternoon sun slanted through the blinds, casting prison bar shadows across my desk. I tried to focus on other cases, but my mind kept circling back to Mother pawing through the Smith files. Had she taken photos? Made notes? The woman had a memory like a steel trap when it came to gossip. I pulled up our firm's malpractice insurance policy on my computer. Section 3. 2. Breaches of confidentiality resulting from negligent supervision of third parties. My stomach churned. Leaving files accessible to a house guest could be considered negligent. Another text buzzed through, this time from our housekeeper Maria. Hi, Mrs. Martinez. I'm here for my usual Wednesday clean, but no one answered. Should I use my key? I'd completely forgotten. I texted back, yes, please come in. I'm in my office. Maria arrived with her supplies, giving me a concerned look. You okay, Mrs. Martinez? You look upset. I forced a smile. Just a stressful case. She headed upstairs to start with the bedrooms. I heard her humming as she worked, a normal sound on a deeply abnormal day. My phone screen lit up with another unknown number, this time from a Georgia area code. I sent it straight to voicemail. The Smith files seemed to pulse with radioactive energy from inside the locked cabinet. I thought about the photos in there, the ones showing Mr. Smith entering hotels with his 23-year-old assistant, the forensic accountant's report revealing offshore accounts, the emails between Mr. Smith and his business partner discussing how to hide assets from the divorce. If Mother repeated any of that information, even accidentally, it could destroy the case. Mr. Smith's attorney would claim bias, demand a mistrial, maybe even file ethics complaints against me. I opened my laptop again and pulled up our state's rules of professional conduct. Rule 1. 6. Confidentiality of information. A lawyer shall not reveal information relating to the representation of a client without the client's informed consent. The rule didn't have an exception for nosy mothers-in-law. Maria appeared in my doorway. Mrs. Martinez, your mother-in-law's room is empty. Did she leave early? Family emergency, I said quickly. She had to fly home suddenly. Maria nodded and moved on to clean the guest bathroom. I heard her gathering towels and running water. 3:42 p.m. Time crawled like it was moving through molasses. I refreshed my email obsessively, half expecting to see a message from the state bar opening an investigation. My desk phone rang. The caller ID showed our firm's main number. Rachel? My secretary's voice sounded puzzled. I just got the strangest call. Some woman claiming to be your mother-in-law was asking about the Smith case. She said she was worried about the children involved and wanted to know if we were doing everything possible to protect them. Ice flooded my veins. What did you tell her? Nothing, of course. I said I couldn't discuss any cases and hung up. But Rachel, how did she even know about the Smiths? I'll handle it, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Thanks for letting me know. I hung up and immediately dialed the airport security number that had called earlier. After being transferred 3 times, I finally reached someone who could help. Yes, we have a Mrs. Martinez here. She's been quite upset, saying her daughter-in-law abandoned her. I'll purchase her a ticket home, I said through gritted teeth. Can you please ensure she boards the next available flight to Atlanta? The security officer agreed to escort Mother to the ticket counter once I'd made the purchase. I bought her a one-way ticket on the 5:15 flight, choosing the most expensive option out of spite. 4:15 p.m. 45 minutes until Marcus could call. I drafted a text to send him the moment he was off work. Your mother went through confidential client files in my office. I sent her home. We need to talk. Then I deleted it. This conversation needed to happen face to face. Maria finished cleaning and left with a cheerful goodbye. The house felt even emptier without her humming and the sound of the vacuum. I sat at my desk and started documenting everything. The time I'd discovered Mother in my office, the specific files she'd accessed, her comments at lunch revealing what she'd read, the phone call to my secretary. Everything needed to be recorded in case this blew up into a full ethics investigation. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This is Todd from seat 23B. Your mother-in-law is on my flight and won't stop crying. She says you threw her out. I turned my phone face down and ignored it. 4:52 p.m. 8 minutes. I saved my documentation file in 3 different places, then password protected each copy. The Smith files remained locked in the cabinet, but I made a note to scan them tomorrow and store digital copies in our firm's secure cloud. The garage door rumbled open at 5:03 p.m. Marcus was home. I heard his footsteps on the stairs, taking them 2 at a time like always. Hey babe, where's mom? He appeared in my office doorway, loosening his tie. I thought we were all going to that new steakhouse tonight. I turned my chair to face him fully. His smile faded as he took in my expression. Marcus, sit down. We need to talk about what your mother did today. Marcus dropped into the chair across from my desk, his work badge still clipped to his shirt pocket. The smile completely vanished from his face as he took in my rigid posture and clenched jaw. What happened? His voice carried that careful tone he used when navigating family drama. Did she say something about your cooking again? I pushed my documentation across the desk toward him. Your mother went through the Smith divorce files while I was in the shower. She read everything. Custody evaluations, financial records, private investigator reports, everything. Marcus's face went through several expressions in rapid succession. Confusion, disbelief, then a dawning horror as he processed what I was saying. He picked up the papers, scanning my timeline of events. She called my office. I continued, watching his hands start to shake. Asked my secretary about the case. Used the client's real names. My secretary had to hang up on her. Where is she now? Marcus's voice came out strangled. On a plane back to Georgia. I put her in an Uber to the airport and bought her a ticket home. Marcus stood abruptly, pacing to the window. He pressed his palms against the glass, leaving foggy handprints. She went through confidential files, actually read them. She knew details about custody arrangements, about the children involved. She brought it up at lunch like it was casual conversation. My voice cracked despite my efforts to stay professional. Marcus, she could destroy my career. If she tells even one person at her church, she won't, Marcus said quickly. But even he didn't sound convinced. I'll call her. Make her understand. You can't call her. She's on a plane. I stood and moved around the desk. And even if you could, what would you say? Your mother has never kept a secret in her life. Marcus's phone started ringing. He glanced at the screen and showed it to me. His sister calling from North Carolina. Word traveled fast in their family. Don't answer that, I said. Not until we figure out what to do. But Marcus was already swiping to accept. Hey sis. His voice sounded artificially calm. What's up? I could hear his sister's voice from across the room, high-pitched and accusatory. Marcus held the phone away from his ear as she ranted about family loyalty, and how could he let his wife treat their mother this way? She went through confidential legal documents, Marcus said, trying to interrupt the tirade. She could cost Rachel her job. His sister's response was loud enough for me to hear clearly. Mother was just curious. She didn't mean any harm. You always take Rachel's side. Marcus hung up on her mid-sentence. His phone immediately started ringing again. He powered it off completely. I need to call my senior partner, I said, moving back to my desk. Let him know what happened before this spirals further. Wait, Marcus grabbed my hand before I could pick up the phone. Let me try to fix this first, please. How? Your mother is probably already planning which prayer group to tell first. I pulled my hand away. I could be disbarred, Marcus. Do you understand that? This isn't about family drama anymore. The house phone rang. We both stared at it. The caller ID showed Marcus's aunt from Tennessee. Neither of us moved to answer it. I'll fly down there, Marcus said suddenly. Tonight. I'll meet her plane and make her understand how serious this is. Her flight lands in 3 hours. You'd never make it. I pulled up flight schedules on my laptop anyway, desperate for any solution. The next flight to Atlanta isn't until tomorrow morning. Marcus grabbed his car keys from the desk. Then I'll drive. I can be there by morning. That's 14 hours, Marcus. You're being ridiculous. My mother might destroy your career and you think I'm being ridiculous for trying to stop her? He was already heading for the door. I'll pack a bag and leave now. I followed him to our bedroom, watching him throw clothes into an overnight bag. What are you going to do? Camp outside her house until she agrees not to gossip about my clients, if that's what it takes. He zipped the bag with unnecessary force. She's my mother. This is my responsibility to fix. The doorbell rang, making us both freeze. Marcus and I exchanged glances before heading downstairs together. Through the peephole, I saw our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, holding a casserole dish. I opened the door cautiously. Hi, Mrs. Patterson. Oh, Rachel, dear. I just wanted to drop this off for your mother-in-law. She was so sweet yesterday, helping me carry in my groceries. Is she feeling better? I saw her leaving in such a rush earlier. My stomach dropped. She had a family emergency back home. Mrs. Patterson's eyes lit up with curiosity. Oh no, I hope everything's all right. She was just telling me yesterday how proud she is of you, working on such important cases. She mentioned something about a custody battle. I gripped the door frame to steady myself. She shouldn't have. I mean, thank you for the casserole. I'll make sure she knows you stopped by. I practically slammed the door in Mrs. Patterson's face. Marcus had gone pale behind me. She's already been talking to the neighbors, I said, my voice hollow. Before she even read the files, she was setting up her gossip network. Marcus's phone, even powered off, somehow managed to buzz with incoming messages. The house phone rang again. This time the caller ID showed his cousin from Florida. I'm still going, Marcus said, but his conviction was wavering. I have to try. Number. I moved to block his path to the door. We need to handle this strategically, not emotionally. I'm calling my senior partner now before this gets worse. I dialed Richard Brennan's direct line, my hands trembling slightly. He answered on the second ring. Richard, it's Rachel Martinez. I have a situation. I explained everything as clinically as possible, from mother reading the files to her phone call to the office. Richard listened without interrupting, which somehow made it worse. I see, he said when I finished. And where is your mother-in-law now? On a flight back to Georgia. She lands in about 2.5 hours. Good. Distance helps. I heard him typing. Rachel, I need you to document everything. Every conversation, every person she might have spoken to about the case. We'll need to do damage control immediately. I've already started documentation. What about the Smith case? Should I withdraw? Absolutely not. That would only raise more questions. More typing. I'm calling an emergency partners meeting for tomorrow morning. Be here at 7 sharp. And Rachel, no more contact with your mother-in-law until we figure out our legal position. The call ended, leaving me staring at my phone. Marcus had sat down heavily on the couch, his overnight bag forgotten at his feet. He's calling a partners meeting, I said unnecessarily. This is really happening. Marcus's phone buzzed again with another message notification. Even powered off, the family network was trying to break through. The house phone rang for the 3rd time. This time I unplugged it from the wall. I'm going to be sick, I said, rushing to the bathroom. I didn't actually vomit, just stood there gripping the sink and staring at my reflection. My carefully applied makeup from this morning seemed to mock me. Just hours ago, my biggest concern had been choosing between Caesar or Cobb salad for lunch. When I emerged, Marcus was on his laptop typing furiously. I'm emailing my mother, he said without looking up. Maybe if I put it in writing, she'll understand the severity. Don't send anything yet, I warned. Richard said no contact until we know our legal position. She's my mother, and she might have just destroyed my career. The words came out harsher than intended. Your mother, who you said would never snoop. Your mother, who was just being helpful by cleaning. Marcus slammed the laptop